stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the man from Lang. Thank you very much for joining me today. On today's episode, we are continuing with our campaign with Jenny Barnes and Skids O'Toole. They are playing Where Doom Awaits, the 5th Mythos pack from the Dunwich Legacy cycle. And this one is for all the marbles. Jenny and Skids are going to be up against it, I think, in this one. For those of you who have been following the campaign, Jenny and Skids have struggled. Probably not the ideal combination of investigators to pit against a campaign, but it's worth a try. During the Undimensioned and Unseen playthrough, 4 broods escape into the wild, so we will be starting with 4 Doom on Agenda 1A, calling forth the old ones. Jenny and Skids also have 3 mental trauma apiece due to the insanity that they have experienced over the course of the campaign. As you may remember, both of them were driven insane during Undimensioned and Unseen while trying to take down a second brood of Yog-Sothoth. Unfortunately, they fell just short, and both of them went insane. So hopefully we can find a way to mitigate all of that horror on top of that is on them at this time. We are set up here. We have the base of the hill where both of our investigators will start the game, and it is a 3-shroud location with 0 clues, and it is connected to each copy of the diverging paths, and you need to use the investigate game text on the base of the hill in order to instead of discovering clues, you get to put a random set-aside diverging path into play, limit once per round. Or you can take the resign option, but that's not really an option in this scenario. So Jenny and Skids are going to have to make it to Sentinel Peak. Unfortunately, Jenny and Skids did end up putting Silas Bishop out of his misery, so we begin the game with a conglomeration of spheres here at the ascending path. This thing is going to come down, and it will engage Skids as he has the lowest willpower of the 2 investigators. So he is going to be taking, more than likely, he is going to be taking a 4th horror token here in the next turn or so. So he will need to find some of his healing as fast as he can. He did have 3 experience points left after Undimensioned and Unseen, which he used to buy a copy of Moment of Respite. He also used Adaptable to swap in 2 copies of If It Bleeds, the Guardian card that allows you to heal horror if you defeat an enemy. The investigator's goal, of course, is to get to the ascending path where they will investigate the altered paths, and then they need to reach Sentinel Peak, where they will encounter the boss, Seth Bishop. He's a sorcerer with 5 combat, 3 health per investigator, and 5 agility. He's a human sorcerer and elite with a retaliate. He does 1 health and 1 sanity damage, and he's worth a victory point. Our agenda is 1A, calling forth the old ones. It has a Doom threshold of 12, but we have 4 Doom tokens on it, so we are starting at a bit of a disadvantage there. And our act is 1A, the path to the hill, and our objective is once we've collected the requisite number of clues, we must immediately spend them and advance, and we will need 2 clues per investigator, so that'll be 4 clues. We are playing Doom Awaits on standard difficulty. The skull is a -1, -3 instead if you are at an altered location. The cultist is reveal another token, cancel the effects and icons of each skill card committed to this test. The tablet is a -2, -4 instead if it is Agenda 2. And the Elder thing is -X discard the top 2 cards of your deck. X is the total printed cost of those discarded cards. We do have 2 tablets in the bag, but we do not have an Elder Thing token, so we do not have to worry about that in this playthrough. Jenny and Skids, Jenny added the Hypochondria weakness to her deck in Undimensioned and Unseen, while Skids added Amnesia. So we are ready to draw our opening hands here. We will shuffle up the deck and we will see what we get. Jenny draws an Unexpected Courage, an Emergency Cache, Hypochondria, Paranoia, and Leo DeLuca. She did upgrade. She had 2 experience points left after Undimensioned and Unseen, so she spent them to upgrade to the level 1 version of Leo DeLuca. So let's get rid of our 2 weaknesses here and see what we get for those cards. We get a Perception and a Machete. That is not a bad hand. The Machete isn't going to help us much against the Conglomeration of Spheres, but it will come in handy later. So we will pitch the Unexpected Courage and draw. There's a Manual Dexterity. We will shuffle all of those back into our deck. Let's see how Skids does. He ends up with an Evidence, a Vicious Blow, an Unexpected Courage, another Vicious Blow, and a Cross Space and Time, which we will discard. And he will get a Physical Training. Well, we should probably, if we keep the Vicious Blow, we can take down the Conglomeration of Spheres that much quicker. So I think I'm going to keep one of them. I do want, I am looking for some sanity healing though. There's a Machete, that's always welcome to see. A Perception and Hospital Debts, which we get rid of for an Evidence. Not a great card to see right now, but we will have to do what we can. It looks like we are ready to start the game. Jenny will be our lead investigator, and she will go first. So we will play the Emergency Cache to gain 3 resources, which we will spend 5 to bring out Leo DeLuca. So that will give her 2 more actions. We are going to want to investigate at least once here at the base of the hill. So we can... She's a 3 versus 3. We can make her a 5 versus 3. Is that going to be enough, or do we want to spend some Streetwise money? We're going to spend the Streetwise money. We're going to make her an 8 versus 3, because if we fail this, we don't get to do it again. So let's see how we do. With the Chaos Bag, that's a -1, so we do get a Diverging Path into play, which I randomized earlier. And we do have 1 action remaining. We do get to draw a card for the Perception. There is our Loss Across Time and Space. We have to discard the top 3 cards of our deck. We will do that now. We lose a Burglary, a Perception, and a Manual Dexterity. So not terrible. We've got 1 action left. We could head over to the Diverging Path, which would give us some time against the Conglomeration of Spheres. What's the best we could do against that thing? If it moves to the base of the hill and we were at Diverging Path, we move up. we'd get 4 shots at it, which wouldn't be quite enough to take it down. We'd have to find some additional damage to do that, although Jenny could engage it, which would take some of the pressure off Skids, who has the lower sanity. So Skids will get 3 actions, which we could use to move away. So let's move Jenny as her 4th action down here to this diverging path. We will flip it over. It is the Frozen Spring. It is a 3-shroud location with 1 clue per investigator, and it has the forced effect: after you reveal Frozen Spring, lose the remainder of your actions and immediately end your turn. So that is fine. That was her last action anyway, and that is a revealed effect, so fortunately Skids does not have to worry about that. So let's get Skids on the move here. He is going to pay 2 for frozen physical training, which we'll put into play. He is going to spend 1 action to move to the Frozen Spring, and I think we're going to do an investigate check. It's not ideal, but we're pressed for time, so we need to try to move as quickly as we can. He is a 3 plus 2 from perception, so he is a 5 versus 3. Let's see how we do with the Chaos Bag. That is a big -5. That is a failure. That is really disappointing. Ah, poor Skids. Alright, and we don't get a card for the perception, which I think hurts more than failing the test does. That will be Skids' turn. We will move to the enemy phase. The conglomeration of spheres is going to move up, or I guess move down to the base of the hill as it pursues our investigators. Jenny draws an unexpected courage and gets 2 resources. Skids gets his across space and time, so he will discard the top 3 cards of his deck. There goes the Vicious Blow, an Evidence, and an Unexpected Courage, and he will get a resource. Alright, well, we've already seen, each investigator has already seen a weakness. We will add a Doom to calling forth the old ones. Jenny's a lead investigator, so she will be drawing the first encounter card, which is a Thrall, which spawns at the location with the most clues, which will be at the Frozen Spring. So it will immediately engage Jenny. That's not great because we've already got this conglomeration of spheres to worry about. Let's see what Skids gets. Skids gets an Ancient Evils. That just speeds things up even faster. We are now at 6 Doom. Alright, what are we going to do here? We have 4 actions. We need to kill the Thrall, which is going to take us at least 2 actions, because we do not have a weapon and we do not have any of our bonuses out. We could evade the Thrall, which would be slightly easier for Jenny, although we do need to investigate and grab these 2 clues. We can't afford to get bogged down here. It's a tough choice. If we evade, that would be 1 action. If we manage to get, well, we can use our Streetwise to get at least 1 clue, hopefully, but getting the second is going to be tricky. Well, let's give it a try. If we can evade the Thrall, then we don't have to worry about it, and then we can move up and engage this conglomeration and hopefully deal with it that way. Jenny is a 3 versus 2. We will pitch a manual dexterity to make it a 5 versus 2. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has to say about this. That is a cultist. Reveal another token and cancel the effect and icons of each skill card committed to the test. So not only do we have to reveal another token, but we cancel the manual dexterity. That hurts. There's no doubt about that. So we are 3 versus 2, and we reveal a token, which is a -2. We are unsuccessful at our evade check. Well, that is not good. We will try again, I think. We will pitch an unexpected courage this time. Again, 5 versus 2. And that is a -1. So we do evade the thrall, which will be hanging out at the frozen spring. We are going to use... we will use Streetwise. We'll spend 2 resources to give us a +3 on the intellect. That'll be a 6 versus 3 for the frozen spring. What does the Chaos Bag have to say? There's another -5. You add that -5 to the Chaos Bag at the beginning of this scenario, and it's already played a huge role. That is another failure. Jenny is going to move up. She's going to move back to the base of the hill and engage the conglomeration of spheres. Skids. What can Skids do? Skids needs to... Investigating is going to be tough for him. We could move up and hit the conglomeration twice, which would put us in a position to kill it the following turn. So we will do that. Skids will move up. He'll move back to the base of the hill. He is going to attack the conglomeration of spheres. He is a 3 versus 1. I think we're just going to stick with 3 versus 1. Well, do we... yeah, we need to spend a resource, I think. We'll spend 1 resource to boost his fight by his combat by 1. So he will be a 4 versus 1 versus the conglomeration. Actually, we're going to do this a different way. We will give him back his resource. We'll pitch the vicious blow. We'll do it that way. And we get a -3. So we do succeed. Fortunately, we did pitch that vicious blow for the +1. So we will do 2 damage to the conglomeration. And we will do it 1 more time. So we'll pitch a resource to physical training to give us a 4 versus 1. And we draw a 0. So there is 1 more damage. Alright. The thrall is going to be ready and waiting for us. The conglomeration is going to hit Jenny, unfortunately, for 1 sanity and 1 damage. So she is at 4 of 7. And we will go to the upkeep. Jenny draws her arcane studies and gets a couple resources. Skids, how does he do? He gets his hospital debts. Well, that's his second weakness of the game. And that will, of course, if we do get any experience points out of this scenario, that will suck them away unless we can get rid of that. And he will gain a resource. We add a Doom, and Jenny gets an encounter card. She gets Visions of Futures Past. Test 5 willpower. She is a 3. We're just going to do it straight up. That's a -1, so she's a 2 versus 5, so we need to discard 3 cards from the top of our deck. Jenny discards the Sure Gamble, Paranoia, and Dr. Henry Armitage. Skids, he will get the Vortex of Time. Each investigator at a Sentinel Hill location tests 4 willpower, and each one who fails takes 2 damage. We are both at a Sentinel Hill location, so we will do Skids first, followed by Jenny. Poor Skids, his woeful willpower of 2 is not going to be helping him all that much here. So it's a 2 versus 4. He gets a 0. He will take the 2 damage. And Jenny is a 3 versus 4. And she will also be taking 2 damage. Wow, that is a painful card to get when both of you are hanging out at the same location. But it is the investigator's turn. We can take down the conglomeration this turn. It would be nice if we could do it before Skids goes, because then Skids can equip a weapon, move down and kill this thrall, clear the way for Jenny to come in and do some investigating. So we shall see what we can do here. Jenny is a 3 versus 1 versus the conglomeration. Let's give it a shot. That's a 0, so that'll be 1 damage. 3 versus 1. That is a skull. That's a -1. So that will be 1 more damage. And 1 more time. Can we kill the conglomeration? No, we can't kill the conglomeration. That's a -4. We do have 1 more action thanks to Leo. And let us see. We are going to have to use that. 3 versus 1. That's a tablet. That's a -2. So we do succeed. And we do kill the conglomeration of spheres. So far, so good, I guess. That's we needed to get rid of that thing. It was just going to cause no end of trouble. Unfortunately, that took on the Jenny's entire turn. Skids is going to spend 3 resources to equip his machete. And he is going to move down to the frozen spring and engage the thrall. And he will attack it. He is a 4 versus 2 with his machete. And oh, we do have the evidence. That could come in very handy. If we can kill this thrall, we can get a clue here. So let's see. We are at 4 versus 2. -1. That's a success. Thrall dies. And we will gladly spend the 1 resources to play the evidence to gain a clue there. Very good turn for Skids there. If we can grab this clue. There we go. All right. Good turn for Skids there. We've got no enemies on the table to worry about. Jenny will grab a card and 2 resources. There's the guts we could have used last turn with all those willpower tests that we had to take. Skids draws a perception. That will be helpful. Maybe Skids can clear this location by himself. That would be something else. We get a Doom. And we go to encounter cards. Jenny gets a Crypt Chill. Uh-oh. That is going to hurt. We don't want to lose Leo. She's a 3 versus 4. We are going to pitch the Guts to make us a 5, and the Arcane Studies to make us a 6 versus 4. Will we get to keep Leo? Tablet, -2. That's a success. Good thing we pitched the Arcane Studies too. We do get to keep Leo around for the rest of the game. Hopefully, cross our fingers. Skids. What does Skids get here? Skids gets a Devotee of the Key. He spawns at the base of the hill. So he will spawn engaged with Jenny. He has 3 combat, 3 health, and 3 agility. And at the end of the enemy phase, he will move towards Sentinel Peak. And if he is already at Sentinel Peak, you discard it to add 2 Doom to the current agenda. Alright, Skids needs to take care of that thing for Jenny. So we are going to have Skids go first. Now, he won't. We're going to have to be a bit risky here because Skids, we won't be able to kill it if we engage it. So Skids is just going to have to take a swing. Although he only does get +1 attack. Oh, shoot, only engaged with him. Move, attack, engage. If Jenny... Okay, that's what we're going to have to do. So Skids will move, Skids will engage, Skids will attack. So he is a 4 versus 3. We will spend a resource to boost his fight by 1 to make him a 5 versus 3. See what the Chaos Bag has to say about it. That is a skull. That is a -1. So we do hit the Devotee of the Key for 2 damage. And that was Skid's turn. Jenny is going to play her machete. And we can just take a swipe at it. We can take a swipe at the Devotee without engaging it. So that'll be 4 versus 3. Not great. -1, good enough. Devotee of the Key dies. Alright, that was her second action. Third action, we could investigate. We'll spend 2 resources to boost our intellect by 3 with Streetwise. So we will be at a 6 versus 3. Let's see how we do. It's a -1, so that is a success. We do get another diverging path. Let's pull. There we go. There's our second diverging path in play. Just leave the altered paths to the side there for the moment. Jenny has 1 more action. She could move to the Frozen Spring to investigate that. We need to get that clue and then 2 more. So she will move back to the Frozen Spring in preparation to investigate next turn. No enemies on the table, so we'll head right to the upkeep phase. Jenny draws Hypochondria. Boy, the weaknesses are just coming fast and furious here. So we add that to our threat area. After she takes a damage, she takes 1 direct horror, and she can take 2 actions to discard Hypochondria. Hopefully we will not take very much damage for the time being. Skids will get a card. Oh, we need to give Jenny 2 resources. Can't forget about that. Skids will get a card. There is an emergency cache and a resource for him. We go to the Mythos phase. Jenny is first. We get An Ancient Evils. Well, we had to add a doom first. So we add one doom and then another doom. We are 2 away from advancing. And Skids gets Rights Howled. Discard the top 3 cards of each investigator's deck. Each investigator at an altered location shuffles each weakness in his or her discard pile into his or her deck. So that's each investigator. So we discard the top 3 cards. We will do Skids first. He loses Liquid Courage. That's sad to see that go. An Emergency Aid and an Unexpected Courage. Jenny loses her Backstab, Double or Nothing, and a Magnifying Glass. All right. The investigators are 2 away from advancing the agenda. We are still 3 clues short of advancing ourselves. So Jenny is going to go first, I believe. Now, if she goes... Yeah, we're going to do that. We'll spend 2 resources to boost her intellect using Streetwise by 3. So she's a 6 versus 3. See how she does. Chaos Bag gives us a 0. So that works out just fine. Jenny is going to move back as her second action. As her third action, she will move to this diverging path. And it is the Eerie Glade. After you reveal the Eerie, it is a 4-shroud location with 2 clues. And after you reveal the Eerie Glade, discard the top 2 cards of your deck for each action you have remaining. She has 1 action remaining, so she will have to discard 2 cards. There goes a flashlight and another machete. All right. So there are 2 clues. We need those 2 clues in order to advance. What can Skids do? Skids just doesn't have the investigation really to track that, to be able to deal with that. We do have a perception though, which is going to be helpful, as well as an emergency cache for a few extra resources. Skids will use his first action to move. It is a risk, but we are going to play the perception to investigate a 5 versus 4. That is not great odds there, but we will give it a try. What does the Chaos Bag have to say? Skull, that's a -1. Awesome. Skids investigates successfully, and he gets a card from Perception. There's an Overpower. All right. We should play the emergency cache to get us a few more resources. And that will be Skid's turn. All right, we are 1 clue away from advancing. Who knows? Maybe Jenny and Skids could pull this off. Wouldn't that be something? Okay, so let's... no enemies to worry about. We'll draw a card. There's an Unexpected Courage and 2 resources for her. Skids draws a Beat Cop. Well, that would be very helpful. Shore up his sanity a little bit, and he will gain a resource. We add a Doom. 1 away from advancing. Jenny will get the first encounter card, which is... Oh, not this one. Spaces Between. We flip each non-Sentinel Hill location in play to its unrevealed side, removing all clues. Each investigator and enemy at a location flipped in this way immediately moves to the nearest Sentinel Hill location. We shuffle each non-Sentinel Hill location, so the players do not know which is which. Okay, so both the investigators move back to the base of the hill. We remove the clue off of that. we'll move this diverging path aside for a second. Both of those will flip, and we will shuffle them up and put them back into play. Okay, well, that's one of them is the immediately end your turn one, and the other one will discard cards. That is not great. So it'll be a, who knows what we're going to find when we go to those locations. All right. Skids gets a card. What will Skids' card be? He gets a Thrall. Now, that's interesting. No clues in play, so we get to pick where the Thrall goes. Now, do we care? Skids were to kill the Thrall where he stands. Yeah, we're just going to put it into play with us because we don't want this thing hanging out anywhere for the time being. So we are going to kill it. I think Skids is going to go first this turn because we're going to kill the Thrall. We put the Beat Cop into play, and then we're going to move to one of these locations and hopefully reveal the one that has the lower shroud so Jenny can get in there and do some investigating. All right, so let's do that. Skids is a 4 versus 2. We will stick with that. That is a -4, so that is a failure. Let's try it one more time. Do these things have retaliate? They do have retaliate. That is going to be a damage, unfortunately. Let's try it again. It's a skull. That's a -1, so that is a success. So that thing will die, and Skids is just going to move as his final action to this diverging path, which is the Frozen Spring, which is okay. After you reveal it, lose all remaining actions. So we did manage to find the one with the lower shroud value. We didn't get to put the Beat Cop into play, unfortunately, but Jenny does get her 4 actions. First action, she moves to the Frozen Spring. Second action, we will spend 2 resources to boost her Streetwise. To boost her intellect by 3. So she is at a 6 versus 3. Let's see how she does. +1. We get it. We get the clue. All right, we get to spend 4 clues to immediately advance. Whoops, need a resource. Did we? No, we didn't have any resources. All right, so we spend our 4 clues and we advance our act. We flip to Act 1B, which is a sacrifice made. The arcane presence masking the path further up the hill has faded. We get to reveal the ascending path and remove all clues from each location in play. So that clue disappears. The ascending path is revealed, which is basically the same as the base of the hill. It is a 3-shroud location with 0 clues, and you need to investigate it in order to reveal the altered path locations. Now, does it happen to be connected? It is not connected, so we will have to go the long way. However, Jenny has 2 actions remaining, which she will use to move up to the altered path. All right. We are going to gain some clues and resources since we are all out of enemies. Jenny draws a backstab and gains 2 resources. And Skids, whoops, where are we here? Skids gains a card, which is a if it bleeds. Well, that could be very helpful if we find an enemy to kill, and he will gain a resource. And we add a doom, which means we flip our agenda to agenda 1B. The world is altered. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. So we get to experience all of that goodness again, including the conglomeration of spheres, which was shuffled back in. It is nice that the encounter deck is so big in this scenario. It's 47 cards. Unfortunately, that does make it pretty swingy. So some games you're going to run into, you could run into all treacheries, and some games you can run into all enemies. It really, really depends from game to game. We have 10 Doom to go. Can Jenny and Skids pull this out and make it to Lost in Time and Space? As you probably are aware by now, there's no middle ground in this scenario. You either succeed and move on, or your campaign comes to an abrupt end. So I'm hoping Jenny and Skids will get to make an attempt at Lost in Time and Space. All right, we need to draw some encounter cards. Jenny gets a Hand of Aphagomon. We need to put our Ascending the Hill into play. We are using version 2 because they did we did not reach the, or we did not rescue the we lost the Necronomicon basically, so you use Ascending the Hill version 2. The Hand of Aphagomon is going to have to go on that, because otherwise it's just going to be in play for the remainder of the game. We'll bring that to the front, and that's the one that you must attach it to the current agenda or act. You treat all damage as direct damage and all horror as direct horror. Skids. Skids draws Frozen in Fear. Skids' big weakness is always the willpower, and this could really hurt. Put it into play every time he moves, fights, or evades. It costs him an additional action, and he can test 3 willpower to get rid of it. So this could hobble him, but we do have our physical training out and a bunch of resources, so we could make some headway against this. I think Jenny is going to start off by investigating the altered path. I believe we need 4 clues again to reach Sentinel Peak. So let's see how we do. We will discard 2 resources to boost our intellect by 3. So 6 versus 3. We're going to pitch the Unexpected Courage. 8 versus 3. Oh, the tentacle, the tentacle, the tentacle. That will lock us out for the turn. That is, yeah, 8 versus 3. You can only prepare so much before the tentacle sticks its little wriggly face in the game and stops you dead in your tracks there. So Jenny has 3 more actions, but we cannot investigate again. We are stuck. So what we're going to do, we're going to take, do we take the 2 actions to get rid of hypochondria? We're already taking direct horror because of the Hand of Aphagomon. I'm going to risk it. We do have Searching for Izzy, though, still in our deck. Oh, that's not good either. Location furthest from us would be one of these. We'd have to move back. We need some cards. Jenny's gonna draw. First card, there's an Arcane Studies. Second card, there's Searching for Izzy. Place this on the location farthest from us. What does that mean? Is that going to cause... I'm not sure if that's going to cause us problems. Take 2 actions if you succeed. Instead of discovering clues, discard Searching for Izzy. Alright. So Skids could actually do that, I believe. It all depends whether they mean... I'm not sure how that works. I'm going to have to check that because I'm not sure. My question here is whether you need clues on the location in order to deal with Searching for Izzy. So we will have to look at that once the game is over. That was her 3 actions. Skids, he has a 3 versus 3. The chance of him actually getting rid of that thing is very small. So we are just going to move. That's going to take 2 actions, and he gets 1 action to move back to, or move to the ascending path. We get to try to get rid of Frozen in Fear. It is a 3 versus 2. Brutal. And we're going to have to spend some of these hard-earned resources to try to break this. 3 versus 2. So if we want to be 3 up, we are going to need to spend 4 resources. 6 versus 3. Is that going to be enough? -1. We do get rid of Frozen in Fear. Hate spending those 4 resources, but under the circumstances, that was just going to lock us out. And we can't have that. We go to the upkeep phase. Jenny draws a Sure Gamble and gains a couple resources. And Skids will gain... He gets Earl Sawyer. He gives him +1 agility. Not the best ally. I'd rather have Zebulon for Skids with his huge sanity pool. We add a Doom. And we draw an encounter card for Jenny. Oh, here we go. It is the each investigator at Sentinel Hill tests 4 willpower. Jenny's got 3 willpower. That is not going to be good. And after you take 1 or more damage, she's going to take a direct horror as well. This is direct damage because of the light of Aphra-Gomon. So we shall see. That will be a 3 versus 4. Do we have stuff to pitch to it? That is the question. We do have a Sure Gamble, which I would hate to pitch to that. Can we take it? We'd be at 5 versus 7, 2 damage. She would be at 5 damage. That's gonna hurt. I'm not liking this at all. Well, 3 versus 4. -1. So now we've got the choice. Do we spend the Sure Gamble here? Which would basically... that would give us 4 versus 4. Yes, we are. We're going to spend the sure gamble to turn that into a positive, and that will be 4 versus 4, so she will pass. Skids is at 2 versus 4. He is going to take 2 damage straight to the face. No doubt. We do not have anything to help. We do have an if it bleeds. But that's not going to be quite enough to get him there. We do have a couple of... Could spend some with physical training as well. But that's... He's 2 versus 4. That's just brutal. 2 versus 4. Yeah, -2. So that is a 2 damage. Okay. Skids still gets an encounter card. What will his be? That's funny. Okay, we got rid of one frozen by fear, only to get tagged by a second one. That's gonna slow him down. Alright. Jenny needs to get a couple resources as her first action, as her first 2 actions. Then we're going to spend them to boost her chance. 6 versus 3 on the skill test. That is a cultist, so we reveal another token. We didn't commit any skill cards, so it's just a straight up token. That's a tablet. -4 because it's agenda 2. And that will be a failure, and we are locked out of the ascending path for another turn. Boy, oh boy. Well, Skids doesn't have a whole lot to do here. We can put out an ally if we wanted to. Would it be better to have the beat comp? Yes, beat comp is what we want. We will gain a resource. The hard way, we will buy the beat comp for 4. And then we will gain a resource. And at the end of our turn, we test Frozen in Fear, which is a 3 versus a 2. Boo. Do we pitch? We could pitch Earl Sawyer, and if it bleeds, which would put us at... that would put us at a 4 versus 3. She could pitch the Arcane Studies, make it 5 versus 3. That's what we're going to do. Got to break it. So we had 3 willpower, so we are at 5 versus 3. Chaos Bag. Oh, there's that cultist. I haven't drawn the cultist this many times, and I don't think I've ever drawn the cultist this many times. Cancel the effects of the icons of each skill card. We did not commit any skill cards, so it's just a reveal another token. There is the -5 for the 3rd time this game. Boy, oh boy. That is a big failure. 3 times we've drawn that -5 this game. Bah! It's terrible. Alright. Well, we get cards and resources. Jenny gets a guts. Why do I always draw the guts after the willpower checks? That's what I'd like to know. And a couple resources. Skids gets a sure gamble and a resource. Maybe we can use that sure gamble to break the Frozen in Fear. We go to encounter cards. Jenny gets the Rights Howled. Discard the top 3 cards of each investigator's deck. And if we're at an altered location, we shuffle our weaknesses back in. Fortunately, we are not at an altered location. So Jenny will discard Double or Nothing goes away. Flashlight and an emergency cache. Skids, he loses the 45 automatic, an emergency cache, and a machete. No great loss. We don't have to shuffle any of our weaknesses back in. Jenny is at four cards in her deck, so drawing a Beyond the Veil right now would pretty much be fatal, especially with the light of Afargomon in play. Skids, he gets wow, double Rights Howled. Okay, so there goes another 3 cards from everybody's deck. Jenny pitches her 45s, Leo and Professor Warren Rice. Skids loses the 45 automatic, Zebulon and Liquid Courage. I think that's both Liquid Courages gone. So the only thing Skids has in his deck to eliminate sanity or horror would be the Moment of Respite. All right, we have Jenny needs to break this, the lock we've had at the Ascending Path. We'll use 2 resources to boost our intellect by 3 with Streetwise. We're doing a 6 versus 3 test. There's a -2. We finally succeed. So we will throw these back into the pile, shuffle them up. Did we add a Doom? I think we did. Discarded lots of cards that turn. That's why I forget why we whether we add a resource. Sure gamble. We did not add a Doom, so we will add one now. All right. We were shuffling up the Altered Paths. Drop one of those into play. Okay. She's got 3 actions left. Can't remember what the Altered Paths do offhand. I know they're bad if you move there at the wrong time. We can draw a card, which will give us a horror and reshuffle, which I think we're going to have to do. There's an Overpower. We'll shuffle all those into our deck and take a horror. Do that now. Where's our horror? There we go. So she is at 5 of 7. Okay, so we drew a card. 2 actions left. Let's move to the Altered Path. It is a Tear in the Path. It is a 3-shroud location with 2 clues. After you reveal a Tear in the Path, take 2 damage if you have no actions remaining. Thank goodness we had actions remaining. We had 1 action remaining. That, well, that wouldn't have killed her, so that's okay. We've got an action remaining. We are going to investigate. It's going to be just a 3 versus 3, unfortunately. But we need to try to get lucky here. 3 versus 3, and we get the Cultist, which is just redraw. And we get a 0. Whoa, Jenny. Jenny pulls off the miraculous investigate to get the 0, to pull off a 0. Way to go, Jenny. We get that will end her turn. Skids, he's got the Frozen in Fear. Do we have anything to get rid of that thing? We do have a Guts if he moves to where Jenny is. Okay, so he will move. That'll take 2 actions, and he has 1 action left, which we could use to investigate. Let's give it a try. It's 3 versus 3, but we do have a sure gamble if we need it. It's a -3. We're going to spend 2 resources to make that a +3. And we will grab that clue. right. Frozen in Fear, he's a 2 versus 3, but Jenny can pitch the Guts for him. 4 versus 3, still not great. Chaos Bag gets a -4. That's a big failure. Right. No enemies, so we will draw a card and gain some resources. There's a double or nothing. And Skids, what does he get? Skids gets his On the Lam. I don't think I've ever played On the Lam for its actual ability, which is pretty amazing. So he can't be attacked, but it does give him three intellect icons if he needs it, so that's pretty good. Alrighty, we add a Doom. Jenny's card is the Ancient Evils. We add another Doom. 6 to go. And Skids gets a Devotee of the Key. The Devotee starts at the base of the hill. So he is coming up the hill. We're going to have to kill that thing because obviously we don't need we really don't need the Doom to move any faster than it is already. So it is the investigator's turn. We have removed all the Doom. Or sorry, we've gotten all that we've removed all the clues from A Tear in the Path. The Devotee is going to move up. So we need to, we're going to have to take him out. Jenny is going to move up to the ascending path as her first action. Second action, we will spend 2 resources to boost her intellect by 3 with Streetwise. We get a 3 -3, so that will be a success. So we get our second ascending path, or second altered path, sorry. That was her second action. Third action, we're going to move to the ascending, the altered path. It is Lost Memories. Ooh. 2 Shroud location with 2 clues. And forced after you reveal Lost Memories, take 1 horror for each action you have remaining. Jenny has 1 action remaining. And so she's going to take a horror. She is at 6 of 7. This is bad news. We can't use Leo. Yep. Can't do it. We've got 1 action left, though. She can do an investigate 3 versus 2. It's going to have to be enough. Let's see. -4, failure. Okay. Skids. What does Skids do? Skids needs to... Interesting. Skids can move directly to Lost Memories. Can he? No, he cannot. Too bad. Alright. If he moves, it's going to be 1, 2. 3. We're not going to be able to kill that thing. We're not going to be... We really need to kill this Devotee of the Key, which is going to be tricky considering we need to get with that Frozen in Fear. What is the answer? What is the answer? Skids is going to move... One, 2, And then we will have to... Are we just going to have to wait for the devotee and take the damage? I really hate to do that. It's going to be 1 and 1. It's going to put him at 4. He'll survive, but we're not in good shape. 1, 2. I think we're just going to take a resource. 4, 5. Yeah, we'll take a resource. And we need to break the frozen by fear. 2 versus 3. We will... I guess it's more the investigate isn't as important right now, so we are going to spend our on the lam and 2 resources for 4 willpower icons. That's a 4, so 6 versus 3. What does the chaos bag have to say? It's a 0. We get rid of frozen by fear. Okay. Enemy phase. The devotee of the key moves up. We take some damage and horror. Unfortunately, that was unavoidable. And yeah, that's it. Okay. Enemies have moved. Jenny gets another double or nothing and 2 resources. Skids gets another physical training and a resource, and we will add a doom. 5 to go, running out of time. Jenny gets Visions of Futures Past, testing 5. 5 versus 3. Well, we're testing 5 versus 3. And that's a 0. Well, -3, so that's going to be 5 cards off the top of her deck. Backstab, Flashlight, Sure Gamble, Flashlight, and Emergency Cache. Skids. Skids gets the Beyond the Veil. That is bad. That just, he's got 10 cards left in his deck. That just compounds the problem we've already got going here. That will surge into a conglomeration of spheres. Oh dear. I think the investigator's luck has just run out. So Skids has a Beyond the Veil and a Conglomeration and a Devotee of the Key to deal with, and he's armed with a machete, which isn't going to help him. Oh dear, oh dear. Bad news. Killing that Conglomeration is going to take us forever. Jenny might be able to make it to the top. It's going to be up to her though, and she's got 6. She takes 1 damage. She is going insane. But game's not over. What is the best course of action here for Skids? He's got 2 enemies to deal with. If he kills the devotee, I think we really need to kill the devotee first of all. The doom will, if the doom gets added, that's going to kill us. We could kill the conglomeration maybe next turn if we get lucky. A little bit lucky. Alright, devotee first. Devotee's a 3. Skids is a 4. 4 versus 3. He's a 5 versus 3 with the beat cop. We could save ourselves an action if we exhaust the beat cop and deal a damage to it. So 5 versus 3. That's what we're going to do. And we get, that is a -3. That's a failure. They do not have retaliate. 5 versus 3 again. -1. That is damage. And we need to hit it one more time. We'll go 6 versus 3 this time. Spend a resource to boost our physical training. And yeah. Well, the overpower is going to draw us a card, but 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 versus 3. Skull, that's -1. Okay. So we do a damage to the devotee, and we're going to exhaust the beat cop and deal a damage to it to kill the devotee. Alright. Still have the conglomeration to deal with. That's going to be tough. However, Jenny, we need 2 clues. Oh, sorry, Skids gets a card here. There's another beat cop. Alright, Jenny. We need to investigate. We need to be successfully investigating, more importantly. We will remove 2 to boost our intellect by 3. We're going 6 versus 2 at Lost Memories. That is a -3, so that will be a success. And we do not have anything else. I guess I should have played double or nothing, but that we wouldn't have been successful because it would have been 6 versus 4. Or it would have been 7 versus 4. Yeah, maybe we should take a step back. That's what we're going to do. We're going to retcon that for a second because we're going to spend the resources and the double or nothing to double the difficulty to 4, but if we're successful we get 2 clues. So we are going 6 versus 4 instead of 6, or sorry, we're going 7 versus 4 instead of a 6 versus 2. So if we are successful, we will get 2 clues. Let's see what happens. Oh, the tentacle once again shows up just at the right time. The tentacle always knows when you need to make a big play. So that was a 7 versus 4. We had a pretty good 7 versus 4. We had, all we needed was a -3 and we would have been fine. Instead we draw the tentacle for the failure. So now all we can do is really go 3 versus 2 twice. Well, that was our first action, so we have 3 actions left. So 3 versus 2. That's a skull, but we're -3 because we are at an altered location, so that will be a failure. Next one, 3 versus 2. There's a -5. There's the 4th time that sucker's shown up. And 3 versus 2. Is it going to be enough? Ooh. Yeah. And that's a redraw. Man. That -5 is just killing me. Well, that could have been the game right there, because Jenny is going to have to going to need Jenny to come in and fight the conglomeration as well. Oh, that hurt. Man, that double or nothing hurt. Oh well, can't do much about it. Game's not over yet. We've still got 5 doom. We will draw a machete and a 2 resources. We will deal with the conglomeration's damage in a sec here. We're just going to draw a card. There's the moment of respite and a resource. Conglomeration will do a damage and a horror. So Skids has 1 life left and 1 sanity left. He does have a moment of respite though, if we can pull that off. Ready our beat cop. We will add a doom. 4 to go. Jenny will get the... Oh, this could be it. This could be it. The Vortex of Time. Each investigator at a Sentinel Hill location tests 4 willpower and takes 2 damage. The only one who is at a Sentinel Hill location is Skids. And Skids is probably the least capable of taking 2 or dealing with that. And Skids will die due to the light of Aphra-Gomon. Well, well, well. Skids can pump it though. 2 versus 4. We'll spend 1 on physical training to make it 3. We'll pitch our other physical training to make it 4 versus 4, or sorry, 5 versus 4. We'll pitch the moment of respite to make it a 7 versus 4. Does Skids get to live? Skids gets to live. Clutch move, Skids. We didn't pitch anything. No. Alright. Skids gets to live. Skids gets a card. Please, not another Vortex of Time. Those things are killing me. There is a Light of Aphra-Gomon. That's got to go on the agenda this time. It's not going to matter much. The damage and horror we're taking is all direct anyway, so there's not much we can do about that. Okay. Skids will go first. Skids can do... So we can exhaust the beat cop to do a damage to this horror first. Skids could hit it once, twice for 2 damage, and then he could burn his machete for 2 more, so we could get it to 5. Okay. Skids is a 4 versus 1. Here we go. First skill test. -2. He succeeds, he takes a damage. Second skill test. There's a 0. There's another damage. Machete. We're going to lose it, but we do 2 damage, which would mean Jenny would have to swoop in and do 1. Skids doesn't have another weapon. We need to do a damage to our beat cop. Or do we just do 4? Yeah, we're not gonna, Skids doesn't have another weapon as far as I know. I think we've discarded all of our other weapons, so he's just gonna hit it straight up. 4 versus 1. Final test. Tablet, that's a -4. So that's a failure. So it has 3 life left. We need to kill that thing. There's no question about that. We are going to have to fight. So she does have that, but we don't have we need another resource to pull that off. And that's really only a 3 versus 1. That's not great. Okay, Jenny, she's got to move up. First action, second action. She can't take the thing anyway. If she misses, she's going to hit Skids and do a damage to him and kill him anyway. Either way, Skids is dead, so I don't think it matters. Jenny will pitch the overpower. She is a 5 versus 1. That is a hit. So she will do a damage and draw a card. There's Professor Warren Rice. She does have another machete, though. We could hit it with the machete once, and that would be enough. Alright, we are going to pitch Warren Rice and our backstab. We're going to hit it with the machete. Or wait a sec. Could we use the double or nothing? Be it 2 combat versus 3 for 5 if we pitched. 5 versus 2. Uh, 6 versus 2, actually. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Pitch, pitch, and pitch the double or nothing. That will be 6 versus 2 for 2 damage. What's the Chaos Bag going to do here? -2. We are successful, and Jenny kills the conglomeration. That was move, swing, swing. Move back. Double or nothing comes in, finally pulls its weight there a little bit. Okay. This one's going to go down to the wire, I think. If we can get these 2 clues, we can advance. Alright. No enemies in play, so Skids is alive. At least for another turn or 2. Get a double or nothing. There's a couple clues, or a couple more resources. Skids gets his, if it bleeds, a turn too late, and a clue and a resource. 7 out of 10. Jenny draws, oh no, not this one. So we remove, Jenny gets thrown back to the ascending path. So she... Oh, this is really bad. That could kill us. So we put the altered paths back, and we have to shuffle them up. The problem is that one will do damage, the other will do horror. Either way, our investigators are going to die if they hit that at the wrong time. And nothing else happens, they just get booted. And Skids will draw an altered beast. No abominations enemies in play, so it just gains surge. Oh, man. The Avian Thrall. Another big enemy. Skids unfortunately does not have a firearm. So it's going to be tough to kill that sucker for sure. Okay, well, this just gets worse and worse. Between the Frozen and Fears and all the enemies we've had to take down, although if Skids does take this sucker down, he can heal a horror, which I guess would be good. What is Skids' combat? He is a 4-5-5, but he's going to need to hit it twice. We could go 6-5 and 6-5 and hope for the best. So we will pitch our beat cop. Skids will go 6 versus 5 against the Avian Thrall. Chaos Bag says that is a hit. That is a hit. 2 damage. That was only a -1. We will spend our resource. 4, 5, 6. 6 versus 5 again. Can Skids do it? Now Skids takes down the Avian Thrall. It'll be amazing. Come on, Skids. Ah! -2. Blast. He misses. All right. Too bad. However, we do have one more chance. We can pitch this 6 versus 5. Come on, Skids. Well, we didn't draw a token. Come on, Skids. Yeah! Skids, you are the man. Skids redeems himself in a small fashion, killing the Avian Thrall. Took him all turn, but hey, we'll take it. 2 6 versus 5 tests isn't easy to hit. That's for sure. That will take his turn up. Now, what does Jenny do? Now, our possibilities. We know that both of these are terrible if we hit them at the wrong time. That will kill us. So we could investigate and draw a new one. So we're going to do that. Use our first action to boost, we'll spend 2 resources, boost our intellect by 3, so we'll make it a 6 versus 3 test at the ascending path. That's a -1, so we are successful. So we will get our final altered path into play. Second action. Tough choice here. Tough choice. If we move, that would be 2 actions we'd have, but it could kill her. It could kill her. Do we risk it? Or do we do another action and then have only 1 action remaining? Okay, we'll gain a resource and then we'll move. We've got 1 action remaining. What is this one? Uprooted Woods. After you reveal Uprooted Woods, discard the top 5 cards of your deck if you have no actions remaining. We have actions remaining. We have 1 action remaining, which is good enough. We will spend another 2 resources to boost our intellect by 3. So we will go 6 versus 2. There's a -1, so we are successful. Okay. Well, well, well. Will we make it to the top of the hill or not? No enemies, so we'll just draw some cards. There's a Guts and 2 resources for her. Skids gets his Chronophobia. At the end of your turn, take a direct horror. That will kill him, so we're going to be taking 2 actions next turn to get rid of that. And he will get a resource. 8. 2 turns left. We will... Jenny gets... Oh no! Oh geez. Okay, well... So that goes away. Jenny gets kicked back up. All these get flipped over again. And we shuffle them up. And they get put back out. So now it is just a... that's going to be really random. Skids, he will get the... Ah! Of course. Of course. Rotting Remains. What would a game be without a Rotting Remains? Skids has no cards. Jenny does have a Guts, though. She will pitch that. Skids will use his physical training to boost his willpower by another 1. So that will be 5 versus 3. And there's the tentacle. Skids, poor Skids, taken down by his arch nemesis, the Rotting Remains. He takes 3 horror, and he will be eliminated. Rotting Remains, how fitting. I mean, it can't be more fitting than that, to be taken down by Rotting Remains at this point, considering what a pain in our side that treachery has been since we started this campaign. So Skids is eliminated, unfortunately. He was a brave soul. Unfortunately, he just didn't have enough to make it. Now, can Jenny do it? Basically, all Jenny can do is move and hope she doesn't die. So we're just going to pick the first one. First action, we flip. Lost Memories. Reveal Lost Memories. Take 1 horror for each action you have remaining. 3. And that will do her in. That is the end of the campaign. Jenny and Skids gave it their all. Unfortunately, they came up short. They were simply unable to get up the hill in order to confront Seth Bishop. That brings our campaign to an end, unfortunately. Jenny and Skids gave it their all. Probably not the best combination of characters to attempt a campaign with, but they did put up a valiant fight in this scenario. I didn't have high hopes. They were really starting behind the 8 ball with 3 mental trauma apiece. But they gave a good accounting of themselves. I think Skids managed to take down... They took down 2 conglomerations and 1 avian thrall, which is pretty amazing. They came very close to getting to the top of the hill. I think if they hadn't have pulled that... What was that card? The Spaces Between. If they hadn't have pulled that, Jenny probably would have been able to grab that final clue, and then they would have been able to reach the top of the hill. So that is going to do it for this campaign. We will not be playing Lost in Time and Space with Jenny and Skids. However, I will do a playthrough, probably with Ashcan Pete, just so you guys can see how that scenario unfolds. Unfortunately, I only just received Lost in Time and Space. I was caught in a some sort of alternate dimension for the past month where, due to I believe it is Asmodee North America's takeover of distribution, my friendly local game store did not receive Lost in Time and Space due to these changes in distribution. So I finally did receive it, so I'm looking forward to bringing that game to you. And when Path to Carcosa is released, we will have many more games and reviews and whatnot. So I hope you will stay tuned for that. But that is going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this playthrough, I'd appreciate it if you would leave me a thumbs up. It helps out the channel a great deal, gets it noticed by new players who will join our, hopefully join this great game that we all enjoy. Chances are I made a mistake in this playthrough. If you notice anything I did wrong, please leave a comment down below, or if you'd just like to comment on this great game, please do so. I do enjoy chatting with you in the comments about this game. If you'd like to contact me, I can be reached at manfromlang@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter @manfromlang. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to be notified of when I release new content. There's a lot of great stuff coming for Path to Carcosa, which I hear is going to probably come out on August 31st. So I am looking forward to that. New scenarios, new investigators to play with. It's going to be great. So until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.